Hey, Writers, Keith Wheeler here, back with another video for you. Print on demand, aggregate publishers, copy editors. There are so many terms in book publishing that it'll make your head spin. Anyway, well, today we're going to continue our Back to Basics series with self-publishing terms that you should know. Now, I love my viewers and I respect your time, and I know that many of these terms you may already be aware of. So what I've done is I put timestamps down in the description for all the terms we're covering so you can quickly jump to the ones that you really are interested in. Now that said, if you really want to help me and the channel out, I'd be honored if you'd give that thumbs up a smashy-smashy and watch this video all the way to the end. It shows YouTube that you're digging what I'm throwing down and encourages the algorithm to show this video to more people. Now with that, let's get started. First of all, self-publishing. Well, self-publishing is exactly what it sounds like. You're publishing the book yourself. You're basically in charge of everything. You're the number one, numero uno. You're in charge of creating the book, finding the place to upload it to, whether it's KDP or other publishers, getting it edited, getting the cover design done, any illustrations that need to be done. That's all on you. But the benefit of that is that you get way more of the profits. Now, I've done an entire video showing the differences between the different publishing types, and I'll include a link to that above, and you can check that out after you're done watching this one. Next up, traditional publishing. Well, traditionally publishing is what most people think of when they think of book publishing. You know, you have a publisher that approaches you, they're interested in your book, and maybe they'll give you an advance, and they're going to publish the book for you. All those steps that I told you that you're in charge of with self-publishing, they're going to handle that. They're going to handle the illustrators. They're going to handle the editing. They're going to handle some of the marketing and all that other stuff. But what comes along with that is a lot less royalties because, well, more people have to get paid. Well, next up is hybrid publishing. Hybrid publishing is just like it sounds. It's a hybrid of the two, self-publishing and traditionally publishing. I'm a hybrid author. I actually have some books that are traditionally published while I do self-publish most of the other ones. Next is a vanity publisher. A vanity publisher is something you really need to be aware of because they're people that tell you that they're going to publish your book. They make you think that they're a traditional publisher, but then they charge you money to publish it. You should never pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to get your book published. It is not necessary. A true traditional publisher will not charge you to publish your book, an exorbitant amount. Now, some smaller traditional publishers may ask you to cover some of the fees, like maybe illustrations, but not paying thousands of dollars to get your book published. That is a vanity publisher, and those you should be really wary of. So what is an aggregate publisher? Well, many people hear the word aggregate publisher, and we throw that around when we talk about going wide when it comes to publishing. And basically, an aggregate publisher is a company that distributes and sells your book to a wide array of online retailers. They collect a percentage of the royalties in exchange for the ease of using only one platform and one dashboard to track your sales. Places like Drafted Digital and Publish Drive. So you can go online and you can publish your book to KDP and publish it to Amazon. You can go and publish it to Apple iBooks and Kobo and all these other platforms. But then you have to go into each of those platforms and upload it. You have to go to each of those platforms and check your sales, and you get royalties from each of them. An aggregate publisher is one place that you go to and you publish it one time and they distribute it to everybody else. So it'll still go to Kobo and Apple and Barnes & Noble and all those other places, but you don't have to upload it to each of them. The downside is they are going to take a percentage. Usually it's only like 10%, but you do want to check each particular aggregate that you go to and see exactly how much their cut is. The next term is POD, or print on demand. And that's how most of us print our books. It's something like whether you're using KDP or Ingram Spark, what print on demand means is it means that the book doesn't get printed until it's demanded, until an order is made. So it'll be there in digital format, but not until a customer goes on Amazon or wherever and purchases it, then and only then is it printed. That makes it so that way it's a lot cheaper for us as authors, and therefore we can give that savings onto our customers. Now, print-on-demand books are printed using digital printing, which is just like it sounds, similar to your inkjet printer, but obviously, depending on where you go, they're going to be higher quality printers. The opposite of that is offset printing. Offset printing is if you ever see a newspaper or some higher quality books, what they do is they use a large printing plate and that transfers the inked image of your page onto a rubber blanket. And then that rubber blanket prints onto your page of your book. Because the blanket is rubber, it conforms to the page and ensures a higher quality print with a truer color representation than digital printing. Because they have to deal with the whole setting up the large printing plate and the rubber blanket and everything else, it's really, really expensive unless you're doing high volume print runs. So if you've ever tried to reach out to a place and ask for print runs and they tell you that you need to buy a minimum of 500 copies, that's because they're using offset printing. So it's a lot pricier, but if you're thinking of doing 500 or more copies, then you definitely want to look into offset printing. So what is low content, no content publishing? Low content, no content publishing is something that's really been hot the last few years. And basically what it is it's the opposite of a written book. Low content means there's very little writing inside it. No content obviously means there's no writing inside it. So an example of a no content book would be something like a coloring book or a line journal or sketch paper. Low content books, on the other hand, are things that have a little bit of writing in it, like maybe a journal, puzzle books, things like that, things that have writing in them. So they're not completely blank or without words, but there's not as much content in it as there is with, say, a written novel. What is a BSR? ABSR stands for Amazon Bestseller Rank. Many times it's just referred to as the BSR or the bestseller rank. And it is how your book ranks within all the other books on that platform at any given time. The closer your BSR is to the number one, the more sales you're getting, the more popular it is. The further away, the less sales you're getting. It's updated about every 90 minutes, and it's a really good indicator of how your book is selling at any given time. So what is an ISBN? An ISBN stands for International Standard Book Number. And think of it as your book's identification number. Worldwide, it is the unified number that, regardless of what country you're in, identifies that particular book. And that little 10-digit number or 13-digit number gives a bunch of different information, everything from what country it was published in to what edition of the book it is. Even if you have a first edition and a second edition, your ISBN number is going to be different. If you have a hardcover version and a paperback, each of those will have a different ISBN because it's that unique. It's unique to that exact copy of that book. It's unique to that exact version of your book. What is an ASIN or ASIN? That stands for Amazon Standard Identification Number. It's similar to your ISBN, but it's specifically generated for Amazon. So it's unique product identifier specific to Amazon's platform. What are royalties? Royalties is the money that you make off of your book. You've got your sales price, and then whatever platform you publish through is going to tell you what it costs to create it and what their cut's going to be. So for example, with KDP, for the print version, as of the recording of this video, it's 60%. So whatever your sales price is, 60% of that you're going to get back, and that's your royalties. What are keywords? Keywords are one of the biggest things that people tend to get confused with, and it's because of the word of it, keyword. Keyword makes it sound like it's just one word. These are words, preferably long tail keywords, longer words, phrases that people use to find your book. And you can use keywords to put in your metadata, the back end information of your book, like your title, subtitle, and on KDP, you get 7 keyword slots. Other platforms, you get 5 or whatever, depending on the platform. But those keywords are what makes your book more visible and easier to be discovered by your potential customer. So when they search for softball book for teen girls, if that's relevant to your book, then using that as a keyword phrase is a great way to have your book show up when other people are searching for it. So the important thing to know when it comes to keywords is it's not just one word. Don't just put something generic like children's book. There are millions of children's books out there, and your book will never get seen in that sea of people that are using that same phrase. So you want to find something that's relevant to your book and that people are searching for. Let's talk about editors. There are so many different types of editors, and I know people get confused. So I'm going to tell you right now the differences. Developmental editor. This is usually the first line of defense. This is the people that you go to early on. They look at your big picture. Things like your plot, your tone, the voice, your characters. They help with the fluidity of your story. If you have an idea for a story, but you don't know where to go with it, a developmental editor is a great resource to have. Since they look at the overall picture of your story, it's definitely better to get a developmental editor early on in the process. That way you don't have to go back and do a large number of global rewrites. A line editor. This editor goes, just like it says, line by line to make sure that everything flows well in your story. They're looking at things like, is there a better way to say this? What's the sentence length to paragraph ratio? Are there any extraneous words or missing words in your sentences? Things like that. A copy editor. Their job is to review your book and make sure that it's ready for publication. They look at things like syntax, punctuation, grammar, and spelling. They also typically look at consistency within the story. Like in the TV show Criminal Minds. In some episodes, they say that Morgan was 10 when his dad died, but in another episode, they said he was 9. This is an example of an inconsistency that a copy editor should catch. Proofreader. Well, your proofreader is your last stage of editing. This is your last line of defense. They're the last stage of editing. Their job is to read the book looking for typos, grammatical errors, or anything else that the copy editor might have missed. They're typically also responsible for design aspects of your book, like your formatting, typesetting, and layout. What is Q4? Oh, I get this question a lot, especially towards the end of the year. Q4 stands for quarter 4, and it basically just means the last 3 months of the year. The reason why we talk about Q4 in really any consumer environment, but especially in books, is Q4 is around the holidays, and that's when consumers tend to purchase more. And so a lot of times you'll see an uptick in sales around Q4. KDP Select. KDP Select is an exclusive program in KDP where you make your book available in what's called the KDP Kindle Unlimited libraries, where people pay X amount of dollars and they're able to check books out, kind of like a library. With KDP Select, instead of getting paid per book sold, if people use the Kindle Unlimited library, you get paid per page count. So KDP Select can be a really, really good option if you have longer books. Speaking of Kindle Unlimited, what is Kindle Unlimited, or KU? Kindle Unlimited is a program that people sign up for, that your readers will sign up for, where they pay X amount of dollars. I think it's like $9 or $10, something like that, a month. And they're able to check out anywhere from 10 to 20 books at any given time. And they have it in their digital library. And if they want to get another one, then they just have to return one and replace it with the new one that they want to check out. The only books that they can check out are books that have been signed up through the KDP Select program. So those two terms are interchangeable. KDP Select is from the author side. That's what you would sign your book up for. And Kindle Unlimited is what your readers would use to read those books. One thing to know about KDP Select is that KDP Select, again, like I said, is exclusive. You have to have your book in there for 90 days. And during that 90-day window, your digital version, your ebook, cannot be available anywhere else on the internet, not even on your website. Also, if you sign your book up for KDP Select, you want to make sure that you click the box, deselect it, or it will be auto-renewed every 90 days. So if you want to keep it in there forever, then just leave it as is. But if you want to only be in there for the first 90 days and you want to deselect that option. What's an indie author? Well, shoot, that's you. It's short for independent author. Someone who writes and publishes their books themselves. So if you write and publish the book yourself, well, then you're an indie author. It's also been interchangeable with a self-published author. Similar, pretty much the same. Now, there's so many terms used when creating and publishing books that if I included them all in this video, well, we'd be here for hours. So if there's a term that you've heard of that I didn't cover in this video, let me know down in the comments. And if there's a topic you'd like me to cover in the Back to Basics series, well, heck, drop that down in the comments as well. And speaking of the Back to Basics series, don't let the learning stop now. Click right here and you can check out the rest of the Back to Basics series. Now, if you've already seen those videos or you just want a little change of pace, well, then YouTube says this video right here is something you should check out. I'll catch you in one of those videos, and remember to write right.